Kharkiv, also known as Kharkov, is the second largest city and municipality in Ukraine. Located in the northeast of the country, it is the largest city in the historic Slobozhenщina region. Kharkiv is the administrative center of Kharkiv Oblast and of the surrounding Kharkiv Raion. The latest population is 1,433,886, 2021 est. Kharkiv was founded in 1654 as Kharkiv Fortress, and after these humble beginnings, it grew to be a major center of industry, trade, and Ukrainian culture in the Russian Empire. At the beginning of the 20th century, the city was predominantly Russian in population, but after the Soviet government's policy of Ukrainization, the city became populated mainly by Ukrainians with a significant number of Russians. Kharkiv was the first capital of the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic from December 1919 to January 1934, after which the capital relocated to Kyiv. Presently, Kharkiv is a major cultural, scientific, educational, transport, and industrial center of Ukraine, with numerous museums, theaters, and libraries, including the Annunciation and Derzhprom cathedrals, the Derzhprom building in Freedom Square, and the National University of Kharkiv. Kharkiv was a host city for UEFA Euro 2012. Industry plays a significant role in Kharkiv's economy, specializing primarily in machinery and electronics. There are hundreds of industrial facilities throughout the city, including the Morozov Design Bureau and the Malyshev Tank Factory, leaders in world tank production from the 1930s to the 1980s, Khartron, aerospace, nuclear power plants, and automation electronics, Turboatom, turbines for hydro, thermal and nuclear power plants, and Antonov, the multipurpose aircraft manufacturing plant. Kharkiv is currently a major target of the northeastern Ukraine offensive in the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine. The city was designated a Hero City of Ukraine on 6 March 2022, in the wake of sustaining heavy damage in the 2022 Battle of Kharkiv. The city has a high concentration of research institutions, which are independent or loosely connected with the universities. Among them are 3 national science centers: Kharkiv Institute of Physics and Technology, Institute of Meteorology, Institute for Experimental and Clinical Veterinary Medicine, and 20 national research institutions of the National Academy of Science of Ukraine, such as the Beverkin Institute for Low-Temperature Physics and Engineering, Institute for Problems of Cryobiology and Cryomedicine, State Scientific Institution, Institute for Single Crystals, Yusakov Institute of Radiophysics and Electronics, Institute of Radio Astronomy, IRA, and others. A total number of 26,000 scientists are working in research and development. A number of world-renowned scientific schools appeared in Kharkiv, such as the Theoretical Physics School and the Mathematical School. There is the Kharkiv Scientists' House in the city, which was built by A.N. Beketov, architect in Kharkiv in 1900. All the scientists like to meet and discuss various scientific topics at the Kharkiv Scientists' House in Kharkiv. Of the many attractions of the Kharkiv city are the Derzhprom Cathedral, Annunciation Cathedral, Derzhprom Building, Freedom Square, Taras Shevchenko Monument, Mirror Stream, Historical Museum, Choral Synagogue, T. Shevchenko Gardens, Zoo, Children's Narrow Gauge Railroad, World War I Tank MKV, Memorial Complex, and many more. Kharkiv contains numerous parks and gardens such as the Gorky Park, Shevchenko Park, Hydro Park, Strelka Park, Sarzan Yar and Feldmaniko Park. The Gorky Park is a common place for recreation activities among visitors and local people. The Shevchenko Park is situated in close proximity to the VN Kherson National University. It is also a common place for recreation activities among the students, professors, locals and foreigners. The Eco Park is situated at Circle Highway around Kharkiv. It attracts kids, parents, students, professors, locals and foreigners to undertake recreation activities. Sarzan Yar is a natural ravine 3 minutes walk from Botanic Sad station. It is an old girder that now is a modern park zone more than 12 kilometers length. There is also a mineral water source with cupola and a sporting court. The city of Kharkiv is one of the largest transportation centers in Ukraine, which is connected to numerous cities of the world by air, rail and road traffic. The city has many transportation methods, including public transport, taxis, railways, and air traffic. There are about 250,000 cars in the city. As of April 2018, there were 25,000 specialists in the industry of the Kharkiv region. 76% of them were related to computer programming. Thus, Kharkiv accounts for 14% of all its specialists in Ukraine, and makes the second largest location in the country, right after the capital Kyiv. Also, the number of active companies in the region to be 445, 5 of them employing more than 601 people. Besides, there are 22 large companies, with the workers' number ranging from 201 to 600. More than half of it companies located in the Kharkiv region fall into extra small category, with less than 20 persons engaged. The list is compiled with 43 medium and 105 small companies. Due to the comparably narrow market for its services in Ukraine, the majority of Kharkiv companies are export-oriented, with more than 95% of total sales generated overseas in 2017. Overall, the estimated revenue of Kharkiv companies will more than double from $800 million in 2018 to $1.85 billion by 2025. The major markets are North America, 65%, and Europe, 25%. During the Soviet era, Kharkiv was the capital of industrial production in Ukraine and a large center of industry and commerce in the USSR. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, the largely defense systems-oriented industrial production of the city decreased significantly. In the early 2000s, the industry started to recover and adapt to market economy needs. The enterprises form machine building, electrotechnology, instrument making, and energy conglomerates. State-owned industrial giants, such as Turboatom and Electric Yashmash, occupy 17% of the heavy power equipment construction, e.g. turbines, market worldwide. Multipurpose aircraft are produced by the Antonov aircraft manufacturing plant. The Melishev factory produces not only armored fighting vehicles, but also harvesters. Khartron is the leading designer of space and commercial control systems in Ukraine and the former CIS. The 2016-2020 Economic Development Strategy, Kharkiv Success Strategy, is created in Kharkiv. Kharkiv has a diversified service economy, with employment spread across a wide range of professional services, including financial services, manufacturing, tourism, and high technology. While Kharkiv is the administrative center of the Kharkiv Oblast province, the city affairs are managed by the Kharkiv municipality. Kharkiv is a city of oblast subordinates. The territory of Kharkiv is divided into 9 administrative reigns, districts. Till February 2016, they were named for people, places, events, and organizations associated with early years of the Soviet Union, but many were renamed in February 2016 to comply with decommunization laws. Also, owing to this law, over 200 streets have been renamed in Kharkiv since 20 November 2015. During the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine, Kharkiv was the site of heavy fighting between the Ukrainian and Russian forces. On 27 February, the governor of Kharkiv Oblast Oles Anihubov claimed that Russian troops were repelled from Kharkiv. According to a 28 February 2022 report from Agriporta, the Kharkiv tractor plant, in the southeast of the city, was destroyed and engulfed in fire by massive shelling from Russian forces. There is video purporting to record explosions and fire at the plant on 25 and 27 February 2022. On 4 March 2022, Human Rights Watch reported that on the 4th day of the invasion of Ukraine by the Russian Federation, 28 February 2022, Federation forces used cluster munitions in the Khtz district, the Moskovsky district and Shevchenko district of the city. The rights group, which noted the inherently indiscriminate nature of cluster munitions and their foreseeable effects on civilians, based its assessment on interviews and an analysis of 40 videos and photographs. The battle for the city has been described as one of the deadliest battles in the invasion, with the Ukrainian presidential advisor describing it as the Stalingrad of the 21st century. By its territorial expansion on 6 September 2012, the city increased its area from about 310 to 350 square kilometers. A well-known landmark of Kharkiv is the Freedom Square, which is the 9th largest city square in Europe and the 28th largest square in the world. There is an underground rapid transit system, metro, with about 39 kilometers of track and 30 stations. The newest underground station, Permoha, was opened on 19 August 2016. All the underground stations have very distinctive architecture. Kharkiv was a host city for UEFA Euro 2012 and hosted 3 group soccer matches at the reconstructed Metalist Stadium. Many Orthodox churches were built in Kharkiv in the 1990s and 2000s. Gorky Park was fully renovated in the 2000s, having a big number of modern attractions, a lake with lilies and sport facilities to play tennis, football, beach volleyball, and basketball. Cultural artifacts date back to the Bronze Age, as well as those of later Scythian and Sarmatian settlers. The site was part of the Chernikov culture during the 2nd to the 6th centuries. The Kaiser fortress of Verkhnaya Saltovo, 8th to 10th centuries, was about 25 miles east of the modern city, near Stary Saltov. During the 12th century, it was part of the territory of Ecumens. The fortress was founded by resettlers fleeing the war that engulfed Right Bank Ukraine in 1654. Before that, the region was sparsely populated and part of the Cossack Hetmanate. The group of people came onto the banks of the Lopin and Kharkiv rivers, where an abandoned settlement stood. According to archive documents, the leader of the resettlers was Otaman Ivan Krivoshluk. Kifo was named after the Kharkiv River. There is a folk etymology that connects the name of both the city and river to a legendary Cossack founder named Kharko, a diminutive form of the name Cheriton, Ukrainian, Romanize. Keratin, or Zechariah, Ukrainian, Romanize. Zakari. J.B. Rudnikich in the 1950s established that the river name is attested earlier than the foundation of the fortress, in the late 16th century. A 19th century view of Kharkiv, with the bell tower of the Annunciation Cathedral dominating the skyline. At first, the settlement was self-governed under the jurisdiction of a voivode from Chuhu 40 kilometers to the east. The first appointed voivode from Moscow was Voyn Selefontov in 1656, who began to build a local ostrog, fort. At that time the population of Kharkiv was just over 1,000, half of whom were local Cossacks, while Selefontov brought with him a Moscow garrison of another 70 soldiers. The first Kharkiv voivode was replaced 2 years after constantly complaining that the locals refused to cooperate in building the fort. Kharkiv also became the center of the local Sloboda Cossack regiment, as the area surrounding the Belgrade fortress was being heavily militarized. With the resettlement of the area by Ukrainians, it came to be known as Sloboda Ukraine, most of which was included under the jurisdiction of the Razvia Prikaz, military appointment, headed by a district official from Belgrade. By 1657 the Kharkiv settlement had a fortress with underground passageways. In 1658 Ivan Efrosimov was appointed as the new voivode, but worked on forcing locals to kiss the cross to show loyalty to the Russian Tsar. The locals, led by their Otaman Ivan Krivishlik, refused. However, with the election of a new Otaman, Timish Lavranov, the community, Armada, sent a request to the Tsar to establish a local Assumption market, signed by the deans of Kharkiv churches, the Assumption Cathedral and parish churches of Annunciation and Trinity. Relationships with the neighboring Chuhyu sometimes were non-friendly and often their arguments were pacified by force. With the appointment of the third voivode, Vasily Sukotin was completely finished the construction of the city fort.